they showed a tractor-trailer load, a full tractor-trailer load of fentanyl. It must have been 1.2 pounds of fentanyl equals $1 million. So there could have been $1 billion in this. And you know what the DEA said? Well, there's good doctors and bad doctors. Oh, really? Means it comes out of the hospital. They were disguising how much inventory they had and had an inventory dump because I caught them. These drugs are coming still out of the hospitals. Fentanyl is man-made. These boxes had factory labels. How about this? Tell us what the bad doctor means. Right? What did the bad doctors do? Overprescribe? It is done intentionally. The money's not in the cure, it's in the medicine.
Yeah, and the thing is that we, the people, we really can't, we have to speak out now. We have to get brave. Mike, you're so courageous. We can't sustain this level of corruption, and you are really, you're setting the tone for the rest of the country to, to speak out. I commend you.
You know what? I'm starting to feel that too, because I'm getting one guidance that formed these other groups. And it was just how I started this. I went from looking for help, looking for the cavalry, until I figured out, I'm going, you know something, brother? You're the cavalry.
Yeah.
So I turned around and I said, okay. And then I said, people follow courage. So I knew I had to be in their face, naming names. I had to show people that you don't have to be intimidated. Mm-hmm. Now, having them try to kill me a few times might have sent the wrong signal, but I'm still here. And the momentum is picking up. And what we're doing is across this country. And if we keep bringing lights, cameras in the courtrooms, cameras on cops. These cameras on the courtroom, the last 3 times I've been in the courtroom with other people helping them, they dismissed the cases, even knowing I was showing up. See, that's what we've got to do. We've got to expose them. And we've got to have people in numbers. Some people find courage in numbers, or we'll get them. So our job now is to unify everybody, and then get someone in Washington like Trey Gowdy or Sessions and say, we need help. We need someone who's courageous on your end.
We have a campaign every month that we're doing, because we've combined forces as well. We just joined with the Zeph Report, and we have a 20 on 20 campaign, which is 20 minutes of prayer and 20 minutes of meditation every month on the 20th to end the corruption and human trafficking. And this campaign has been really powerful. And we are praying for Trey Gowdy, because he is going up against some really, dark forces. And it's taking people like you, people in the anonymous community, and really not just coming out and saying, oh, this is happening to me. People that have the fortitude and the laser focus to, like you, to call out the documentation and put it out there in the public. And I'm getting more and more confident in what I'm doing here in the Porthole to Justice because of people like you.
I appreciate that. And bringing this out and as constantly as doing it, you got to remember, when we started doing it, there wasn't me doing this. But I think there is now. And what we got to do is combine forces. I'm going to talk about Anonymous and have you, if you're good with it, put your call signals up there too, so they can stop the traffic. And when we see, this is what I want to bring to Washington. I want to turn around and say, listen, these are the number of people following. These are the ones that are at 99% of the people commenting on Facebook are begging for an investigation. Now let's think about this. An investigation. Now here you go. You ready? Yeah. If they were innocent and we were wrong, they would ask for an investigation and say, here you go. You see, you were wrong. Mm-hmm. They're fighting an investigation. Now, Now,
they're not just
there's
fighting
only
an
2 doors here.
investigation. They're totally stonewalling it. And, you're right. You're exactly right. We wouldn't be asking for an investigation if we were the guilty parties here. And
right.
The corruption has become a culture and a way of life amongst these people.
And acceptance.
Yeah, and acceptance. And we, the people that are being preyed upon and targeted, we can't sustain this level of corruption, and our economy can't sustain it either. So I'm really hoping that you can go to Washington, and I'm going to be praying for that, and you will go to Washington.
Well, listen, I'm going to be in Washington whether they want to see me or not. Because I'll keep banging on doors, and I take my camera with me. Listen, the last DEA agent, he gave me his name, Melvin. And I said, Melvin, and he knew about John Delana and the tractor-trailer load of fentanyl. And he goes, we know all about you, Micheal. I go, really? I go, so what are you going to do about it? And he started laughing. I go, you know what I'm going to do, Melvin? I'm going to put your number on the internet, and I'm going to ask everybody to call Melvin. And they did. But that's what we got.
What did you think about that meme campaign that we got out last night? I think we got them all. I think we got. Did we get them all?
Yeah, you did. You brought some memories back with a couple of them. Right. You know what the thing was on my sign? I put The Sopranos. I said, one group is organized crime, and the other is Sopranos. I have big message centers at my companies, Mortgage Specialist. One in Manchester could be about 80 feet long. And what I do is I put the drug dealers' faces on there. Mm-hmm. I put the corrupt judges on there. I've been in court for over a year with the drug dealers. So think about this. I'm in court with Alex Walker, who's trying to murder me. I'm in court with the drug dealers. The people who offered me $50 million, and I'm the defendant. And see, so why isn't this looked at criminally?
Well, yeah, and I want to mention,
all the evidence.
You're in court for defamation because you took out huge billboard ads, saying these are the drug dealers here in our community.
Right. I got their faces. Their faces are 50 feet long and wide, and say, he's a drug dealer. Cruz. I've got the courage. You know what they do, the drug dealers? They own a company called Auto Fair. It's the largest car dealership, I think, in the world. Well, they move the drugs with the cars. They use the profits and hide the money in the inventory in the cars. Then they finance the car with the money that's stolen. See, the biggest problem when you're making billions is where you put the money. When they get caught because they find the money. These guys own their own banks. Our banking commissioner made a new law just before he got in. You ready? No one has to audit anymore. Whoa! That's because they can't explain the money. Mm-hmm. See? It's the whole state is in this. Now, what I'm saying, people in this state know, but a lot of them are employees of the state. Mm-hmm. Think about cops. I'm certain some cops are honest. But let's face it, they're complicit. They know, and they can't say anything with the corrupt cops. So listen, a complicit cop and a complicit judge or IRS agent is just as bad.
No, and we had Buddy Wayne Webb on the Porthole to Justice just the other day. His story. I want to introduce you to Buddy Wayne Webb in Texas, because his story. The media, they should be reporting on this stuff. We should have investigative reporters with integrity that want stories like these. Some of the biggest stories.
You don't have them anymore. Newspapers as a whole are almost worthless. The Boston Globe, one of the largest newspapers in the United States, sold for $100 million. You ready to know what they resold the building for? $78. One of the most respected, largest papers in the country, $22 million. Right? I almost paid that much for a horse. So the point being is that they sold us out. Mm-hmm. These papers and news media are protecting the cover-up. How about this? Andy Cruz, I just checked my New Hampshire magazine. You ready? His face is on the cover calling Businessman of the Year. That's the cover. The media had to sell the acceptance of these drug dealers. And yet, AutoFare, for instance, is the number one customer of all the news outlets in the state of New Hampshire. They're in on it. And now that they've sold us on these people, this situation is that if it is uncovered, they're going with them.
Yeah, and we see the same thing coming out in the Pizzagate investigation. Some of the citizen investigators, they've pointed out that the Washington Post is owned by, some of the family members of corrupt politicians. So that we know that are involved with, for instance, Podesta, who was the assistant on the Hillary Clinton campaign. He works at the Washington Post. So we know that, they're putting out stuff that's trying to convolute the corruption that's occurring, and these they're controlled opposition. They're putting out false narratives, and it's people like Anonymous, people like the Zeph report, and other people that are slowly starting to come up, and they're saying, look, we the people can't sustain this. We can't take it anymore. We need investigations. We need the people to be back in the government again.
Right. But then I'm telling you, when social media is the last bastion of free press. That's it. And Trump got elected from social media. And I think they missed the
Well, it's really amazing, Mike, because we can see, Trump is probably the most targeted person in America, and we can actually see it in action and what they're doing, what the media is doing to wield their perception on the people with our current president. And it's pretty amazing for someone like myself or you to stand back and watch and be able to see exactly what they're doing.
Well, that's the thing. Spending this time and effort. Listen, I'm terrible at a lot of things, but I am one insightful son of a gun. That's how I became wealthy in business, is being able to kind of put things together and see what things are going to happen. For instance, the juice in this corruption, Bill Shaheen. He was the campaign manager for Hillary Clinton. And again, I'm not playing Democrats, Republicans. If you follow me, I go after the Republicans just as hard. But that's the juice. When you have the Adjutant General of the IRS putting a mole in your company to protect the crimination from getting out, who do you think has the juice to be able to do that? See, it's Clinton through Shaheen. And who's her campaign manager in New Hampshire? Bill Shaheen. See, that's the level, and that's the protection. The evidence that I have with the IRS, anybody who was money should stop, say, wait a minute, investigate this. If you're corrupt to the very top and covering all this up, then why is it that we're held to your rules? And I'm not telling people don't. I'm saying, hey, listen, we're going to pay taxes. You make sure you're not leveraging innocent people. You're not working with the corrupt. See, that's the thing with the IRS. It is a leverage piece. It is an extortion piece. Just like family court with your children, that's extortion too. They only
they're probate courts. They're probate courts, and the bar is, they're basically just targeting individuals based on this information that they get from community sources, infiltrators, gang stalkers. That's not that's a term that they use, but a lot of.
Well, you know what I found too? They're the people that you report the crime to. I had one woman report these drug dealers, motorcycle delivering and all. Gave it to a cop in Derry, the name Clark. He gave it to the drug dealers before she even got home. Now she was in hiding. They were going to have her murder her. I mean, there's the case. So when I report crimes to the U.S. attorney, they tell the drug dealers. You see me interview with cops? Within 48 hours, they had all the evidence to the drug dealers. So the irony is,